Welcome to the Wild and Free with Anna Love podcast. I am your host, Anna Love. Wild and Free was born to inspire women to release old patterns that have kept them from living their best life. As a subconscious freedom specialist, I strive to reprogram and reframe generational trauma, not only in myself and the lives of my three daughters, but for those who are ready to transform anxiety, fear, and shame into authenticity, freedom, and love. Whether you are 20 years old or 70 years young, buckle up for raw and honest explorations in doing the work necessary so that you may shine your brightest light from your heart and onto the lives of others. Well, hello, friends. Welcome to Wild and Free with Anna Love podcast. In our second episode, I think that my favorite topic in the world is what we will focus on, and that is how we are in control of our own state. And so, what is a state? That is the way that you show up, the way that you feel from moment to moment. And a little secret about this is that there are three things that we can do anytime we want and as many times as we want to change our state. And so, growing up, I'll just tell you a little backstory before I give you the three ways to change your state. Growing up, I felt that, I didn't know this secret. And so, my state of being or my state of mind was typically on a very low vibrational feeling inside my body. And I didn't know what the word vibrational meant either. I just knew that I felt bad. I felt bad when I woke up because my mind would start going about the things that I didn't want to do. And it would just, I'd go through the whole day just feeling this low, bad feeling. And once in a while, things would cheer me up, right? And so the things that would cheer me up would be some sort of emotional connection or where I was feeling heard or seen. If I went to school and I had like a funny joke with my girlfriend, that would immediately change my state. So it would bring me out of the funk that I was in, out of the vibrational feeling of sad or mad or just blah, and it would elevate me. And I didn't know it at the time, but this is a big deal because you are in control of your state. And back when I was younger and I didn't realize that I had all the control in the world, I would wait for something to cheer me up. I would wait for Friday night to go to the movies. I would wait for Sunday to maybe go to the mall and meet my boyfriend when I was a teenager. I would wait to get to school, right? I would endure or tolerate my morning at home and the school bus ride and all of the things that would get me to school. And this story, I don't have anything in particular. I'm just picturing a time period of when I was much younger. Elementary school came to mind when I was telling this story in the very beginning. But I want you all to kind of reflect on what I'm saying and bring yourself back to a time, even if it's a time period where you know, and you know it real well. It's like a story that doesn't end, where the next day is the same thing as it was the same the day you're in. It's always the same. You go home and you already know the way that you're going to feel when you come off the bus or you come home from work or you come home to a specific person that's going to be in your house and what type of state that's going to put you in. Okay. And the event is what you are allowing to control your state. So sometimes people's states are controlled by the weather. Sometimes it's controlled by what's in their bank account when they wake up. Sometimes, back in the day, remember if I bounced a check, that was an actual thing, right? When we wrote checks. And if a check was bounced, all of a sudden my state would change. I could be in the best mood in the world and then my state would change immediately. So, one of the most important tools that you can put inside your toolbox is how to create an empowering state or a happy state at the snap of a finger, at the blink of an eye, at the shift of a thought. And here's how we are going to do that. So, but first, before I tell you how, I want to just read a little note that I wrote to myself. self. When we acknowledge and accept that we have the power to create our reality, we can change anything we want. Okay, so when we accept that we are that powerful, we don't need the weather or money or what friends say about us or to us or our grades or any of those things to affect our state. Now, I'm not saying that you're not allowed to be happy because, you've won the lottery, right? Or because you've just made a lot of money or you've just made a deal or you've reached a goal. I'm saying that you don't want to allow yourself to be sad when it's unwarranted. So, a lot of the time we walk through life feeling a certain sort of way, feeling fearful, feeling shame, feeling anxiety, feeling hurt. And events that happen to us put us there. So, let's just say we're walking along and somebody throws a rock at us. Well, the rock was thrown at us and it can change our state and we can be angry for the rest of the day. And we can talk about it with all the people that we meet, talking about how angry we still feel about the event that happened 3 hours ago. And our state is lower. And the problem with that is when we allow circumstances and events to create our state for us, then we are not the ones in control. And what's even worse is it not only does it invite in additional instances, just because of the laws of attraction, it invites in more events that are matched to that vibrational frequency. So if you walk around angry, then you're going to call in more events that could potentially make you angry if you don't have control over your state. And I'm not saying that you can't have your emotions fluctuate from sadness to sometimes anger because things do happen. But what I'm saying is like don't get me wrong. I never want to suggest that we only ever want to be happy 24 hours a day. Okay. I feel like that's a little bit unreasonable. I'm not saying let's wipe our emotional slate clean except for happiness and positivity. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is have the control to be able to not only change your state whenever you want to, even if you wake up and there's a rainstorm and your flight got canceled and you were supposed to go on vacation, don't let that change your state. I'm not saying you have to be happy about it, but be neutral. Okay. So having control over your state is a way of keeping yourself in a state of neutrality, right? So nobody says you have to be totally at the highest level, but I'm suggesting that we don't have to be at the lowest level or in a negative state or something that's going to make us grumpy and it's going to snowball into negative things happening in our life, right? We want positive things. We want to invite in positive things and doors opening. And the best way to do that is to be staying neutral or being able to shift our state. So let's learn the 3 ways to do that. So, number one, the easiest thing to do is to change your physiology, which is to turn on some music and dance around, to do some jumping jacks, to get down on the floor and do some squats or some push ups, right? Any form of movement is going to change your physiology and change your energy. So when we have a negative state, it gets balled up, it gets stuck inside our body. And the quickest way to change that is to start jumping around and moving around, and it changes your energy. So, step number one is changing your physiology. So, what I love to do is on a daily basis, I like to do some sort of an exercise. It's my maintenance, and it's either cardio, lifting weights, doing yoga, doing qigong. I've learned recently any type of movement that you want is going to keep your energy up, and if you plug it into your life, your lifestyle, like it's the maintenance, then it's going to become the norm, and you are going to stay regulated. Like your nervous system is going to stay regulated easier because you are maintaining this movement in of your energy. But if you wanted to do something quick, like I said, it can be a fast shift. Turn on some music, dance around, and see how you feel. I guarantee your energy will change for the better. The second way to change your state in an instant is by changing what you are focusing on. That means that we really get what we focus on. So if you are focusing on what you don't want or what you're afraid you will get in the future, you are going to feel bad about that. If you are focusing on what you want in the future, that is amazing, that is going to feel good, that is going to bring connection, that is going to bring love, that is going to bring you closer to your goal, you are going to feel amazing in your body. So, your energy, okay, you have control of your energy. Wherever you focus, that's where your energy is going to go. So let's use the example of working out. So if you go into the gym, and I don't know if you've ever been in the gym and you see these power lifters and they are jacked and their bodies look on point because their diet is right, their mindset is right, their discipline is right. But here's what's no one's talking about. When they are in the gym, they are focusing their mindset on what they are doing. So they're not like thinking about the weather. They're thinking about when they do their like workout, their weights, they're thinking about how are they executing that. They're thinking about the muscle that they're using. So if they're working on biceps, you better believe that their mind is focused on their bicep. Okay, they're not thinking about what's going on in their legs or their glutes because they're not working that muscle. So when you focus on exactly what you want, you are going to put all of your energy into there. And it's very much like you put yourself into a trance almost, right? Like you'll hear me moving forward talking a lot about trance and hypnotherapy in a hypnotic state. When you are focused on something, you are going to get more of that thing. Okay, so that's just one example. Another example is of when you focus on something that you don't want. Have you ever like do this right now? Like try to not think of a pink elephant. Try to not think of that right now. Don't think of a pink elephant. I don't want you to think of a pink elephant. What did your mind immediately do? Well, most likely you thought of the pink elephant because I told you what not to focus on, but your unconscious mind doesn't understand the word not. So it's going to picture what it is that I'm saying. And that's a focus, right? So we focus on what we hear and our unconscious mind filters out the not. So you have to be very, very careful with language. And you'll also hear me through this podcast talk a lot about language and what that means and how we internalize language and then how we make choices based on that. Okay, so moving on to the third way to change our state in an instance, it is your language, right? I like how I parlayed right into that. Your language is almost to me the most important of these three because your language dictates it's almost like a robot. Like if you were to tell a robot what to do, it's going to listen to you, right? It doesn't have the capacity to discern that you're asking it to do something that could put it in danger, or it doesn't have an opinion one way or the other. You have to be very, very clear on your language. So when you are, let's just use there's so many things I can talk about right now. Let's just use something negative and then we'll do a positive. Let's just, for my example, this actually happened to someone I know recently. They were saying how they didn't want to be driving the car that they wanted, that they wanted something different, that their car was a piece of shit, and that they really, all the things they hated about their car. And the language and the focus, by the way, but the language was very much around I hate this car. I don't like this car. I don't like the way it drives. I don't like the way the transmission revs up whenever it feels like it. I'm just tired of the color of it. I really wish I had something different, right? Language is everything. And it is how you manifest what it is that you want or not want to come into your life, into the future. So this person got into an accident. A deer jumped out in the middle, like literally like 3 days later, a deer jumped right out in the front of the car and it got totaled. And I said, guess what you just did? Your language manifested a new car. Even though it was something that could have been, I mean, the car got totaled. she had her child driving in the car with her and she could have gotten hurt, but luckily she didn't. But the point I'm making here is when you are saying language, your unconscious comes in and gives you one way or another, it will manipulate the events in the universe, will come to your rescue and or your support, and it gives you what you want. Okay, so when your language, and I'll give another example of a negative just because it's so fascinating for me when I learned this stuff. So if you, let's just say that you've got an event coming up and for some reason you're a little apprehensive, like maybe it's a public speaking event, it's an engagement that is new to you, you're not really comfortable doing it. And you're saying in your head, I really wish I didn't have to do this. Oh my gosh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to go there. I don't want to do this. Your unconscious mind will come in and listen to your language, and it will create some sort of a disaster or create some sort of an illness that puts you in bed. And then all of a sudden, somebody has COVID for the third time and they don't know why. All of a sudden, we have the fever, or we have a little sore throat, or we have, an infection somewhere in our body that shuts us down and we are not actually physically able to do the thing. Check your history on if I'm right here. And it takes some inner just going inside. And really, if you've never heard this before and you're like, what is she talking about? I don't believe what she's saying. I want you to just take inventory of your life, just humor yourself, and let me know. I'd love to hear. Hit me up on Instagram or Facebook somewhere and let me know if you've seen evidence of this truth. Now, let's look at the positive, okay? Your language can bring about positive things. You can change your state, right? We're talking about state change. And when you are talking about, let's just say you are ready to go on vacation and you are psyched up about it, but the next day, all of a sudden, your flight gets delayed. Well, you can make this a positive or a neutral state by just saying, yeah, it is what it is. This too shall pass. And we are going to accept this delay and we're going to get on our flight when we need to, and we're going to get to our destination when we need to. And then it just is what it is, right? We can't control the situation if it is what it is, and we're being prevented from getting on a flight, but we're keeping our state in a neutral place. We're not spiraling out of control. And the whole point of changing our state is that we want to stay neutral. We don't want to spiral out of control. We want to widen the window of our tolerance. And that means that if you were to picture a window and windows can be all different shapes and sizes. If you have a tiny, eensy weensy window of what's called tolerance, meaning how much you can cope or handle something, if you have a tiny little window, you're going to get really pissed off or really angry really quick. So the point is when we start practicing how to change our state, we can make that window widen so that we have more room for negative things coming into our life because we actually can't control what does happen. Okay. When the things happen and circumstances come into our life, we can at least stay in control and not overreact or not be triggered or not go into like a hyper vigilant state where we're yelling and screaming our head off or we're always angry or we're in a freeze position or we're running away and shutting down, right? The whole point of this podcast is to get ourselves in a place of freedom. And when we are able to control our state, we are free. We are free from the circumstances that are going on all around us. And when we are free, we're able to be in our most authentic self and we're able to stay in love with life, stay in love with ourselves, and connect with others. So I hope that helped. And I'd love to hear your comments, like I said. And yeah, let's see, something I'd like to invite you to here would be my Life Design Blueprint membership. And so I'd love to invite you. It's going to be every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And really, it's a steal. It's $20 a month. And I'm going to be meeting with you every Monday. So that's, do the math, $10 to come on for 30 minutes to an hour and I'll teach you something new. And I'll also do a hip hypnosis. So there's going to be different topics each week, and you can suggest some topics, but some of the ones that we're going to be starting with are sugar addiction, there's anxiety. And if you listen to this podcast afterwards, then this is something to look forward to. If you've already missed these episodes, then feel free to jump in, and they will be in the portal. So they will always be there, and they will just keep accruing, and we'll have, a nice library growing. So I'd love to see you there live or on replay. So anyway, enjoy your day, and I love you very much. Mwah. Join me for a free transformative masterclass where I'll guide you to design your dream life. You will learn about your unique blueprint and how to shift your reality. Creating a new you is made possible by elevating your conscious awareness. My 21-day Habit Shifters Challenge offers you an opportunity to shift and grow 1 millimeter at a time. If you are looking to upgrade your habits so that you can create a life that lights you up, you'll want to check out the challenge. Say goodbye to feeling stuck in unfulfilling routines and say hello to daily habits that bring you energy, joy, and calm. Stop struggling to create positive changes and start being the person you are meant to be with ease. Join with the link in the show notes, and as always, let me know how it goes. Well, thank you so much for tuning into Wild and Free with Anna Love and being a part of this magical journey with me. If you like this episode, make sure to subscribe and share with someone you love, even someone you just like. Bonus points if you leave a review. Show notes below gives you everything that you'll need to know, and I'll see you next time. So long for now.